Crafting. I'm Nurse Janessa, and hopefully I have like the big lights on today because it's really gray and rainy outside. You might actually hear like some thunder. We're kind of after an entire summer of like no rain, we have had a week of just downpours and thunderstorms. So that's a good thing, but you might hear it in the background, and it might look a little brighter than you're used to seeing me, because I do have the overhead fluorescent lights on today. Excuse me. So let's talk about what I've been up to this week, because it has only been a week. I know. Over the summer, I got crazy busy, and the podcasting kind of like got put off on the back burner. But now that the kids are in school, I can like actually sit down and do this every week. I might run out of things to say. Who knows? I did make a list so that I wouldn't forget the things that I wanted to talk about. It would help if I turned to the page in my book that has the list. Okay, so a couple things I have been working on. I don't think I showed this last week. I'll see if I can't get it down without knocking everything else off the table over here. It's a little difficult to show because it is on the needles, and with circular needles, there's just so far that you can stretch things out. But I'm working on a hat. I think it's the Hapsulu shawl by Gurdon Johnson. It's a very popular one on Ravelry. There's actually, I subscribe to the Craftsy Unlimited. I guess they actually call it Blueprint now. But it's basically like all the Craftsy classes and a bunch of other really entertaining content. Actually, it's worth the subscription price to do it. Anyway, one of the classes that you can get on Blueprint is Gurdon Johnson actually teaching you how to construct a hat. And the pattern that she uses to teach you is the Hapsulu shawl that she has on Ravelry. So that pattern comes with the class. And so not only do you get the pattern, you get like her actually teaching you how to do it. So I am making that pattern, but I'm using not the same kind of yarn that she uses. So this is for the prayer shawl ministry that I knit for with the church here in town. So it's just acrylic. I think maybe this is a brand from, I'm going to say Hobby Lobby or Michaels maybe. Anyway, that's the yarn that I'm using. So this big yellow part is just the big square. Like that's just, you knit a square. And then the magic happens when you pick up and you do the edging and the border, or the border and the edging. I don't know which order. I don't know which one's which. But anyway, so here is the I think they call it Old Shale, or some people call it Feather and Fan. But there's that kind of lace there for the edging. So, I mean, there's nothing too fancy about it. You just go around and around and you got that lace. The actual pattern shows like she has, you know, bands of color, and there's lots of changing yarns, and it's really, really pretty. And one day I would love to actually recreate like that exact color scheme of that pattern, because it's gorgeous. It's lots of like greens and browns and grays and burgundies. Very, very pretty. But for charity knitting and for babies, I thought this would be a nice combination. So that's nearly done. I've got like, I don't know, 10, 12 more rows of this, And then I think there's an edging, and I'll probably switch back to the yellow for that. And that will be off my needles, which is good because I need this cord. This is my one super long cord, and I need it for my next project, which starts tomorrow, September 1st. I am, move that there, starting the Fading Point by Joji Locatelli as part of her fall knit along. I've seen her post a lot about the fall knit along. She has like a special sign up form that you sign up in order to participate in the knit along. I don't know entirely how it's run because I've never participated before, so I don't have like all the details, but I do know that it's a fun and exciting knit along with potential prizes. So a while back, and I can't remember if I talked about it on this podcast or if I just talked about it on my Facebook TV. I've done a couple of videos on Facebook, not Facebook, Instagram, InstaTV, ITV, whatever they call it. You can tell that I don't know much about it because both times that I've tried to upload videos, it's been incredibly frustrating. No one can seem to tell me why it's so frustrating, because they're like, I don't know, it uploads, no problem. We don't have any issues with it. But yeah, for some reason, like my internet connection or the fact that like I don't have nearly as many followers as some people, I don't know what the deal is, but Instagram doesn't like me to upload to their TV channel, and so I'm not gonna do it. I've got better things to do than worry about why I can't be watched on Instagram. So I'm doing the knit along, the fall knit along with Joji. I'm doing the Fading Point, and here are my colors. This one. These are all Nerd. Where are we? There we go. Nerd string, and I bought them at Fancy Tiger Crafts. This one is called Busy Bee. This one is called Superfood, Power Food maybe. This one is called a little bit Shello or something Shello. It's kind of like a grayish yellow. So I have like those two kind of yellow tones that are going to be my light colors that are going to move into this light green, the Power Food. Hopefully that glare isn't too bad that it's not washing it out. And then I have this one that's called Mr. Green Sleeves, or maybe this one's Betamaxed. One or the other. One of these is Mr. Green Sleeves and one of these is Betamaxed. But anyway, it'll go into that darkest green is how that's going to fade. So I'm excited about that. As you can see, I've got most of my yarn wound up. I still have one skein to go. And then as soon as I free up that long cord off of the hat, I'm going to get started on my Fading Point. I am really excited about this project because I have done the starting point, which I'm wearing. So I know what the construction of the Fading Point is going to be, and like I understand the construction of it. So there are things that like after I got, I don't know, maybe halfway through this one, I was like, oh, I should have done it this way. So now like I know those things, and it'll make doing the second one a lot easier. I didn't know how much I would like this rectangular construction. I really thought that it was going to be like one that didn't get worn a lot. And of all of my shawls, of my many, 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 many shawls, this one gets worn the most all the time. It lives on the back of this chair. Anytime it gets a little bit chilly, it goes around my shoulders. I take this in the car, and it keeps me like because in the summer my husband When we're driving places, he blasts the air conditioning. He does not like to be even a little bit hot in the car. He will set our thermostat in the house at like 80 degrees happily. We have arguments about that. I'm much more of like a, let's get down into like maybe the 76 range. Like, I'm not unreasonable, but 80? No thanks. Anyway, like he hardly ever wants to turn the air conditioner on in the house. But in the car, it's blasted at 60 degrees in the car, and it shines, or it blows right on me, and I turn into a popsicle. So this comes with me whenever we travel in the car, so that I can wrap up in it, because it's nice and long, so it kind of covers my arms, almost sleeve like. It's the perfect shape and size, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So I definitely am excited about having a second one, just to kind of have variety in my life, and maybe one will live in the car, because sometimes I forget this one, and that's never a good thing. I actually quite like that idea. Now that I've said it out loud, one of them's gonna live in the car. There you go. So that project will be underway shortly. I also did a little bit of work on, I'm like 8 rows from being finished with this one piece of my mom's sweater. So you can kind of see how how the short rows like make it curve. It's a little hard to see, but you can kind of see that curve right in there. But yeah, this one's coming along. I really like it. I didn't know how the cotton would hold up to the cables, or like, would you even want to wear a cotton sweater? Kind of like, I was doubting the yarn choice basically, but now that I've been knitting with it, and this Pima cotton, it's the Cloudborn Pima Cotton DK. It's really nice, and I kind of am excited. I had bought enough at the time to make myself, it was the Off My Needles knit along with the Knit Girls, like a little t-shirt sweater. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to make that, because I really like the feel of the fabric that I'm getting with this. But yeah, look at those lovely cables. Oh, must cable all the things. There we go. Here, let's do it this way. So fun. Love it. So that's coming along. I'm kind of dreading having to piece all of that together. I don't know how that's gonna go, but we'll see. Fall has kind of made itself known in my neck of the woods. Mornings are getting a little bit cooler, nights are cooling off, we're able to sleep with the windows open. I mean, it's still August in Missouri. And it will probably end up being like crazy hot all through the end of September or something like that. But it's definitely like getting into fall. Soon there will be a need for sweaters. If I can untwist this. So today I pulled out there we go. I pulled out the Bexley Popover, which didn't get a lot of love over the summer because I was knitting other things. My plan was to knit a sweater over the summer, and then I'd have like another sweater to wear as soon as it got cold. And here it is, it's gonna start getting cold, and I don't have a sweater. So This is the Bexley Popover. I am knitting it out of Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport. And I'm alternating colors between the Cobbled Stone Heather and the Bramble Heather. So they're two, like a bluish gray and a brownish gray, very close in the same family. So that when it's like way back here, you can hardly tell, but when you get real up close, you can definitely see the stripes in it. So I lost where my needles were. Yeah, just gonna plug away at this one. This one is also one of my longer cables. It's not my longest one, but this one could have come in handy too. There's no way I'm getting that one off the needles though for quite a while. So anyway, works in progress, yay. I figured it was about time to do just a little bit of selfish knitting for myself, which is why I got the Popover and the Fading Point into my queue of things that I'm gonna knit, because I've been doing a lot of pattern knitting over the summer, to the point where I have the Violetta hat, the cowl, I have another shawl that I haven't announced yet, but I've teased about it on Facebook, not on Facebook, on Instagram. Like those 3 patterns are written, and they're just in the process of like editing and testing and that kind of thing. So I've got a lot of patterns that are ready to come out, and I've been doing a lot of like sample knitting for those patterns, and I use those things, so I guess technically it's also selfish knitting, but I consider that now more like my work knitting. These 2 projects are just like completely for me, for no other reason than like I need something to knit to enjoy for myself, for me time, and the end product is going to be completely 100% for me. It's something that I wanted, kind of. So super selfish knitting in those 2 projects, and that's okay. I do have another like fun crafty project that I want to get started. I just have to make myself like sit down and do it. I'm going to do, and I don't even have like a picture to show you, I'm going to do an embroidery project. I'm going to be using this kind of gray, oops, here we go, just cotton, basic cotton. It's going to be a quite large hoop, and it's going to have a large K, like a monogram K in the middle, and it's going to be surrounded by a variety of different succulents. This is from Studio MME, and it's just all these adorable little succulent plants. And let's see, I think I've got the floss. Oops. Scissors. I haven't 100% decided which floss colors I'm going to use yet, but here are some of them. Oops. Probably not the red. But yeah. So, kind of some dark blues and some sagey, earthy, like mauves and greens, some yellow, little highlights with the white and the black. I also got red, but I just don't know that red is gonna, I don't know. There might be like little pops of red or something in there. But yeah. So that's kind of my next embroidery project that I want to get working on. But every time I think I'm going to start that today, something else comes up. And I have never gotten around to actually transferring the pattern is like the biggest thing. Because it's not like all laid out for me already, I have to kind of like do the layout of it first. I'm just sneeze. So I have to get the layout of it done. And that just takes like a lot of time and space to like lay everything out and then trace it and transfer it to the fabric and yeah. So I don't know, I've been kind of putting it off, but I need to get that started as well because just because I've been busy in the kitchen too, and I'm gonna have to like take a picture and insert it. We had like a big windstorm and it blew a bunch of our peaches down off the tree. And they were almost like just about ready to pick anyway, which is why they fell off the tree in a windstorm. But they also got kind of like bruised, so they really weren't worth eating, but they were very good for making jam. So and my son had asked me, he's like, pretty please, can you just, I want some peach jam. So I decided, sure, I probably have enough to like whip up a quick jar. Like I'll cook these down, I won't even have to can anything. I'm just gonna, cut this couple of peaches up. I'm gonna put them in the pan with some sugar and cook it down and jam, and no worries, right? And I kept having to switch to bigger pots. I did not anticipate how much, like, because it looked like I was going to have to cut out a ton of buggy spots. There were some bruises that were just too bad. When you grow fruit in your backyard and you don't spray for pests and stuff, sometimes the bugs are too bad and it's just not worth it. You just have to toss the whole thing out. I don't know. I didn't think I would have enough to get as much as I did, but 8 pints later, I had 8 pints of jam, plus like enough left over. Just like I put it in a bowl in the fridge. I didn't bother. There was like maybe that much, that wouldn't fill up a jar. I really didn't think I would have that much. I was super shocked. But the kids loved it. They come home every day from school and that's what they want for a snack. They're like, can I have toast with jam? Can that be my snack today? All right. So, that was a fun kind of, day in the kitchen that I didn't expect I would have nice peach jam for the winter, and now I do. I'm kind of glad I decided not to make cobbler out of it because that would not have lasted very long. And here's another picture. Our pumpkin patch went crazy. It's the one thing that grew in our garden this year. Like I said, we had a super dry summer, like severe drought throughout northwest Missouri, and our garden just was horrible. We got barely anything out of it, but the pumpkins did really, really well. Every year at the end of school, our school's FFA chapter gives all of the elementary kids a pumpkin plant. And last year we planted the pumpkins and a rabbit came along and ate them. Like, we put them in the ground, we came in the house, we went back out to water them, and a rabbit had like ran off with the pumpkin plant. That's how long it lasted. And so super disappointing, right? This year we tried to take measures to keep the rabbits out. It worked, which surprised me because nothing I ever do in the garden to keep the rabbits out works, but something that we did this time, we covered it, we like put it in a lot of hay to kind of cover it up and like put it in a cage, and I don't know, maybe the rabbits just weren't around this year. That's the only thing I can think of because they left them alone. Thankfully, this year we got lots and lots of pumpkins. I think I went out there and counted like at least 10 good-sized pumpkins. And the kids only need 1 pumpkin each for Halloween. And I don't really set pumpkins up like just to decorate with. I'm not a decorator person for the holidays. Like, I don't set out special decorations for season or the holiday. That's just not who I am. More power to the people who are, and you do really great job, like making the neighborhood festive, but that's not me. Um, so like two of them will be for the kids, and then the rest I'm gonna can. And I went online. I was like, surely you buy canned pumpkin in the store, so surely you can can it at home. Well, apparently there is no safe way to can pumpkin puree at home. It's a really low acid food, and that means that it requires very high pressure and a long period of time in order to can it. To can puree, which, an industrial place is able to do. They're able to safely can pumpkin puree because they can, go to extremes with it. But, at home with a regular home canner, like a pressure canner, you just can't get the amount of pressure that you need to make it safe. So, what I did find was that you can can chunks of pumpkin. So you can cube the pumpkin up, and put that in jars and can it. It still takes 55 minutes at 15 pounds of pressure. Or 95. It was a really long time, hours of pressure canning in order to make it food safe. So really high heat, really high pressure, long amount of time. But in the end, it can be done. And that means I don't have to sit there and try to fill freezer bags full of pumpkin puree, which can be a mess and a pain. Such a pain. It takes a long time to get a pumpkin cooked into pureeable form. It takes a really long time. It's worth it. Homemade pumpkin pie with pumpkin out of the garden. It's worth it. But it takes a long time to bake the pumpkin or cook the pumpkin or season it, or however you want to cook it so that you can mash it. It's a lot and it's messy. I've done it before. So that's why I wanted to can it, because I was like, well, surely there has to be a better way. And there is. And it's, you cube it up, you peel the pumpkin, you take the rind off, you cut up the pumpkin pieces, you cook them for I don't know, a couple, 20 minutes or something. You boil them basically, but not enough to cook them all the way through. And then you put the chunks in a jar and you put the cooking liquid over it and you can it for a crazy long time. And in the end, you've got a jar of pumpkin that you can open up, drain off the liquid, and mash. Super easy. So, I'm going to do that. I'll talk to you again after I've done that. It probably won't be this week because some of them, they aren't ripe enough. They're still kind of green, as you can see from one of the pictures. So it'll probably be I don't know, a month or two before I'm actually able to have pumpkins that are ready to cut up and can. And we'll talk about how I feel about the process then, because I may feel completely different about it. I mean, there's a reason that for the most part, people just go to the store and buy pumpkin out from the store. It's a process to cook your own pumpkin and have fresh pumpkin puree. It's worth it, but it's a process. So, anyway, that is what I have been up to this week, and I hope that you are having a wonderful week crafting and knitting. Maybe you too are enjoying the silence of the house while the kids are back to school. I know I am. Love them to death. I really like the quiet time. So anyway, we'll see you next